Annalisa Young, thank you so very much for joining me today on the Why Reading podcast. I am so fortunate to know Annalisa through real estate, but she's joining me here today to talk about Reading and represent herself through the eye of the Reading Chamber. So if you wouldn't mind, introduce yourself to what you do with the Reading Chamber, what's your title, and fill us in.
Well, thank you, Cassie, for having me. Super excited to be here and talk more about my involvement in the community and in the Reading Chamber. So this is my first year as an ambassador, kind of my second year in the Reading Chamber itself, being new to real estate in the industry. So as an ambassador, we really try to advocate for local businesses, new businesses that have been members for years. It's a great opportunity for others to network. And I'd say if you are just moving here, being a member gives you that exposure in the community you wouldn't have unless you knew a ton of people when you moved to Reading.
So the chamber, I'm going to be really honest. When I moved here and started in my path in real estate, it was said to me, you need to be part of the chamber. And I said, great. I love things in the community. And so I joined, and I've been to a meet the greeters one time. So I'm a poor representation of what chamber really is. So tell me, how could I be a better member of chamber, and how does chamber really benefit the community members and the businesses that are involved?
Yeah.
What do I need to do to be a better chamber member and better benefit my business?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. We were having an ambassador member meeting last night. So kind of first to backtrack, the chamber itself has had new leadership this year. So right now they're going through, let's call it a rebirth, which is great. Yeah. I think change is good. People need change. It gets them more motivated and less stuck in their ways sometimes. Yeah. So we have a new membership director, Molly. We have Todd Jones. He is now the president. So both of them are just great, positive characters in the chamber themselves. Todd's been very involved with EDC in the past. So we have leadership who genuinely cares about the community, its growth. So first, I just wanted to start there and just kind of give an overall like where the chamber's headed, which is a great direction.
Awesome.
They're having great conversations with us and amongst their team as far as like, where is Reading going? What can we bring to grow Reading as far as businesses, more development and such?
Can I interrupt you for a second? Yeah. That's really rude of me, but because I got to see Todd and Molly speak when I went, and they were really energetic, and it was infectious. What is maybe a vision that they have for the new growth and new businesses where they would like to see Reading go?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still learning that. I think they're also still trying to figure that out together. Last night when we were with Molly, Todd wasn't there. She being fresh eyes, like she's a month into her leadership position. So she's asking the questions of how can I make the chamber beneficial to the members? So I'm glad you asked that question, because she's actively trying to understand, well, how can we talk to people who aren't members, people who are members, but just haven't utilized their benefits, such as yourself. And like why the chamber is important. So I think with those mindsets, we're moving in the right direction. So as far as a member, how you can utilize your benefits really comes up to the member itself. I think a lot of people want tangible benefits. The benefits I see from the chamber itself, I mean, other than like newsletters, SEO opportunity, which is very important these days on social. You can have the chamber logo on your website. When you Google, like, it's just another thing to show people who are looking for a realtor or a grocery store, like who is involved in the community at a certain level and who's a part of the chamber. It does reflect integrity in the community and importance. So there's something that I always like to talk about. Like, I know we have for our real estate company, the logo on our website, and it just shows like, oh, we're active in the community. Plenty of realtors out there, of course. But as far as members go, there's so many chances to network. So whether you like to go to the Thursday greeters that are every week, just for an hour, you get to go up in front of everybody, do your spiel. You can also advertise events. Like, for example, I'm on YPN with our association, and we have our dessert auction next month. It's another chance to get in front of people in the community and say, hey, come to this event. If you want to donate and be a part of something that raises money for an organization locally, like, come. Versus having to advertise on social media, you're in front of people who also then can share that information too. You get to learn about other businesses every Thursday that maybe you would have never known existed, or actually what they do. So you get an insider scoop.
So it's like a little education too. Yeah. You can, so give me an example of a business that you didn't know existed and you found out through the chamber.
Ooh.
Sorry, on the spot.
I know. So many. I'm like trying to think of one I went to recently. The one that I can think of right now is Shasta Regional. So not the hospital, but next to it, they have their care clinic.
Okay.
It's right next to Deja Vu restaurant. So you know where I'm at.
Yep.
And so in there, they had their director and I think one of the general surgeons. And you get to talk to them specifically about what they're doing and all the programs that they offer that maybe like health insurance is very hard to come by. And every clinic is having a hard time accepting new patients.
Right.
But you can learn from them specifically of like what they're doing to bring more doctors in, to give more care to the community. Even like what free clinics they're having. If you need to go get your heart health checked and they're having a free clinic, like things like that you just never would know about or even think about, honestly. So that's one example recently.
Neat.
Yeah.
Is it a place where, because when I had attended, I was also trying to promote an event that I was hosting through the Association of Realty. And so I went as a promoter. Is it something that if I were a new business in town and just doing my startup, that I could go out and introduce myself to other people and say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm all about. And is it an opportunity for somebody in that capacity?
Totally.
Perfect.
Yeah. So it puts you in front of people of all kinds of businesses, and you have an opportunity to mingle with each other before you learn about that business per se. And then if you want to stay a little bit later, there's extra time. So there's the greeters events on Thursdays.
Okay.
There's happy hour events. Like tonight, there's one at Cafe Pagado.
Oh, fun.
Never been there, but I think it's right here off Hilltop.
Right.
Yeah. And so
I've heard about it. Yeah. Also never been there. Isn't it located in the hospital? Or near?
No, you're correct. It's downtown. I don't know what I was thinking why it was over here. But yeah, you're right. It's downtown. Like it's on the corner.
Yeah. Okay. I can't wait to get your feedback on that, because I've heard it has great views, and it's so what a great example of what the chamber does is it highlights something or a place or a business that we have maybe heard of, intended to go to, but had not found the chance to go. So I can't wait. You're going to go. You're going to tell me how it was. And then I'm going to tell 6 other people. And then hopefully that helps to spread the word about the business.
Yeah. So there's all these chances to like learn about a business, meet people. If greeters isn't your thing, if that hour from 8 to 9 is just not in your timeline because you have other things to do.
Work,
life. You have an afternoon happy hour. There's other events to get involved in the chamber as well. Depending on your membership tier, there are 3 tiers. Also gives you you can get member contact lists. So if you want to reach out to people for your business specifically, you get the list of the members. Like you also can utilize your account on the chamber to spread your events. You can actually post your event there. You can have them send email blasts out to everybody in the membership. So it just opens up the scope of your advertising. And technically I guess it's not free, but it's included in your membership. And I think that the price is very affordable. So
I think that the benefit of, although it's, you're a member, but you're a member of the business community. And so you're marketing to business members that are going to, again, they're going to spread the word. You're going to help promote the local aspect of our community. And it's going to be, your dollar is going to be spent at the local pet shop, and your pet shop owner is going to go to the local cafe, and that cafe owner is going to then go to, the local grocer. And it's that, keeping those people at the top of your mind and keeping those local businesses, that's really cool. Yeah. What are some larger community events that maybe the chamber does that someone like myself has no idea that they're sponsoring, promoting, and in charge of?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm still kind of new in the ambassador role, but I know they do a golf tournament every year. Reading does a ton of golf tournaments.
We should. We're amazing.
Yes.
We're a year-round golf community.
Exactly. So I know that they do one every year just to get everybody together and have a good time. I'm trying to think what other events. They are involved in Cool April Nights. So actually, as ambassadors, we get to help volunteer and put together the show and shine at Crown Motors that we host every year. I'm also get to like volunteer at the Civic on Saturday and like have a booth. So they're very involved in the larger community events, maybe not their own, but they participate. So, and they ask a lot of the members, like if anybody has time or if they want to, they include them as well.
So at the booth, what is something that the chamber is there to answer or to talk about?
Yeah. So this year specifically,
so you can go see Annalisa at Cool April Nights.
I'll be there Saturday. Yeah. So this year we're actually talking about doing a booth for Visit Reading. I don't know if you know this, but Visit Reading and Chamber work out of the same office. They're like the same entity.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's wonderful news.
They have a person that does Visit Reading, the website, specifically on their own, but they're under the same roof.
Okay.
So Chamber and Visit Reading are, let's say, mother.
I know where they're located.
Yeah.
Downtown.
Yeah. And Visit Reading, like the Airbnbs I manage, I have a little guidebook and I reference like to go to their website to learn more because they have so much of the local events, the attractions. They keep it very updated and it's very easy to navigate. So we're talking about doing a Visit Reading booth, not just Chamber. Cool. But since they're one and the same, it's kind of like we have a chance to have a booth to share more about the things happening in Reading, the trails, like all of the things, have brochures, have information, and, you know, just being able to connect with everybody that day.
That's awesome. So I have to give, because I didn't know that it was a combination.
Yeah.
I have to give a huge shout out and say thank you to then the chamber, because when I first moved here, as everybody, when they moved to a new community, I didn't know anybody and I didn't want to not know anybody. I wanted to get out and I wanted to go do fun stuff. And I had my young kids and I said, this is a cool community. Let's go play. And so I got on the website for the city of Reading, and there was a little thing where you could ask for a pamphlet. You can get a booklet of all sorts of information on the community. And it was the coolest. I got this large envelope sent to me, and in it there was a calendar of community events. There was trail maps. There were activities for kids. There were parks for kids. There was information on our local hospitals and just really pertinent basic information about the new community that I had just joined. And so I used that trail map and that parks list, and I spent all summer going to every single park and every single trail that myself and my Bob stroller could navigate. And, it was such a great tool that really made me feel like I wasn't an outsider, that I felt like I was getting to be a part of the community. And in fact, because of that booklet, and that was what was mailed to me, I was going to so many parks, and I met my very first friend, Carrie Peterson. I met her she started to see me at like 2 parks, and then finally she came up to me and said, I think I've seen you before. And I said, yeah, you recognize me? And that was the first friendship, and that was how it started. Cool. Thank you, Chamber.
Yeah, there's all those little projects you have no idea. Yeah, so it's pretty great. It's been fun to learn more about like their involvement in the community. The things that they are a part of, support behind the scenes that you would never know about. Very behind the scenes. Very. And even like growing up here as a kid to see like the trails, for example, where they're at, it's stunning. Like the parks that they're continuing to build that are coming in the future. I know South City Park downtown is going to have a huge renovation eventually. And then just seeing like Shasta Ranch Park, every neighborhood like has a place for the kids. So I think that's great. So there's no, it's not overcrowded. Yeah,
it is. It's a great aspect is that you can always find a place in this community to be where I'll be like, I can't believe it's a Saturday morning and there's no one here. And you feel like you have something special. You feel like you've like captured this small little portion of the community that like no one knows that this is what a special treat.
And they've really thought it out, like the themes, all of the little rides. Like,
Yeah.
I have fun going to the park with my friends' kids. Like, I'm having more fun as an adult now at the park than I did as a kid. So,
Well, there's probably a lot of reasons. A, because the parks now don't have the wood, the splinters,
oh my gosh,
all
the metal
things.
slides.
I know, everything's so cush. These kids are so bougie.
Zip lines now, they're so fun.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Well, that is so cool. I had no idea that the chamber was involved in aspects like that. What is a bit of advice that you would give to somebody who is interested in exploring local events or visit Reading or the chamber? What would you say? Like, hey, you could find us here. This is where we are. This is what we love to do.
Like the chamber itself, or
events that if they're a business person in the community and they want to get involved and promote themselves or be a part of the chamber, where do they go?
So if you can show up at the office, they do have a staff there Monday through Friday, and you can gladly walk in and talk to them about membership. They're downtown off of it's Butte Street and Pine. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yep.
So you can walk in there, talk to the team. You can obviously go to their website. It lays everything out as far as getting involved in the membership. If you know somebody that is a member, or maybe you don't, you can go to a greeters event as a guest.
Oh.
Yeah. So you can show up, get a chance to kind of see what it's all about, start to meet people before you actually sign up as a member. See if it's something that really does work for you, because I think you want to make sure that it works for you.
Because it is a membership. You are paying a fee to be a part of the chamber. Mm-hmm. But it obviously gives you so much access to business promotion, to community events, to friendships, and beyond.
Like family there.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you yourself were raised here. You mentioned briefly you were raised here. You departed Reading. I did. You went off. Tell me what made you leave, and then tell me how you found your way back to Reading. Why did you come back to this place?
Yeah. So I left when I was 18, graduated high school. 2 months later, moved to San Diego.
Okay.
I did grow up in San Diego as a kid, so in a way it was another home for me. Okay. So I always thought about going there. Went to community college and just started working. And then I was down there for 8 years. Started in fashion merchandising at the community college, but moved into hospitality. Worked for a restaurant group, started at a hotel called the Pendry. And then, what year was it? 2021. That hotel was opening a property in Manhattan. So I decided to transfer to the front office there. So I spent a year in New York. It was fantastic, but maybe it's the clock ticking, the biological clock, but I just knew it was time for something different. Mm-hmm. It was time to kind of get away from that grind. Mm-hmm. So prior to leaving San Diego, actually, my mom and I talked about me getting my license, but I knew I had to take the New York opportunity, so I never regretted it. Like, you have to do it. You've lived in New York, you get it.
I spent a beautiful 10 years there.
Yeah, so that opportunity that year was fantastic. Coming back to Reading was never something I thought of. I always probably would have stayed in San Diego had I not moved to New York. But I came back because I felt like it was time to be closer to family and just start that next chapter in my professional career. So while I was still there, did my license application and everything. By the time I moved back in 2021, August, I officially got to take my test. So the timeline couldn't be perfect. More perfect, I should say. Right. So I came back to Reading, was still itching to go back to San Diego. It wasn't until last January I decided, okay, I'm not going anywhere. Like, why make it harder for myself? I'm here. I get to be with my family. And so I just decided to deep dive in, and getting involved is something that I really love to do. And so once I just put myself out in the community, it started to feel like home again, but like home as an adult. Like kind of when you're a kid though, it's like that familiar feel of, oh no, this is safe. Like, I feel home. I feel cozy. Like, I belong here. I can be myself here. Not that I couldn't ever, but it had like a new meaning. So that's how I made my way back to Reading, and I'm excited to stay.
What do you love? Because you've been able to see the change in the growth of the community, being raised here, leaving for points, having very large urban, experiences, and then coming back to a community like Reading that is still developing a really beautiful downtown urban experience without trying to replicate anything else, but being honest to who it is, which I really like.
Yeah.
But as a business, coming back and doing the deep dive and getting involved as an adult professional woman, do you find, how do you find that in our community?
Let's see. Well, luckily I do have my mom who is also a go-getter. Our whole family definitely was a go-getter. So naturally, it comes naturally to be or want to step into leadership roles. I feel like, okay, as a newbie in real estate, like your business is really slow because now I newly moved back to Reading. I know people, but I don't really know people anymore. It's been almost 10 years.
Yeah.
So now I have to build clients. Okay, that's going to take some time. How else can I feel like I'm making a difference or doing something, or how can I meet people naturally?
Yeah.
And to me, that's getting involved in committees with the association, getting involved in things like chamber, just starting to go to greeters, and just what ways can I put myself out into the community to get my name known. So that's really where the mindset came from, was just how do I get business? I have to put in the work. I can't just sit at home and wish and hope as much as you wish that could happen, and to this day, I still have to think, okay, how can I get creative? I'm still growing this clientele. So that was, I think, my motivation to get more involved is I'm in this industry. Well, it has these other opportunities to get involved in the community that are very meaningful. I want to do that because I want to actively participate in what's happening here and say I did that, or allow other people who might not have the ability, or some people are more shy, but maybe you can hold their hand and say, come with me. You want to be a part of this too. I know it. Yeah. But sometimes you just need to be there for people to get them involved.
Guide them a little.
Yeah. We're all a little bit different when it comes to personalities, but I think it's making sure people know that these are also available to them and it's not just the same people. And I think it's good that there's new people coming into these positions. So
that's awesome. I think that getting involved in putting yourself out there, you're right. It's hard. It's a very difficult thing to do. And I guess my experience with going out and reaching out to businesses and looking for other similarities between myself and other businesses and trying to say, hey, we're all in this together. Let's bring the ship up. More water makes us all float higher kind of mentality. I've found that the business community has been really welcoming to me. I found that in my interactions with folks, people have been really positive and wanting to see progress and younger voices. And there's been a good shift in positive movement in getting new businesses through my eyes. I'm curious from growing up here and seeing the businesses that were established through your youth, and then now seeing the businesses that are being established now, do you find that there is a uptick in positivity, new momentum? Do you find that we're kind of riding the same bandwidth that we rode through from 90s to 2000s, or do you find there's been a decline? Where do you think that Reading is going in terms of business progression?
Yeah, I think looking back, there's definitely an uptick. Obviously I wasn't in the business industry when I was younger. No,
but you're still your very much a part of the community.
Yeah. So looking at it, there's definitely an uptick. I think learning more about how development happens, it takes a lot of time. It takes years. There's things that are happening now that were planned 5 years ago or more years ago. New leadership is coming, which I think is great because that's actually moving things along faster. We need that.
I agree.
So I would say Reading is uprising. I think the next 5 years, it's going to be incredible. I really do see that. I think there's a lot of projects people don't know about that I even know about, because it's not that easy to find that information necessarily unless you talk to the right people.
And attend the meetings and get yourself involved.
Yeah. Ask people questions and not be afraid to just be curious. To be wrong too.
Yeah.
I think Reading's doing great. Downtown is much better than it was when I was younger. It was very stale. So it's great. I see a safer community.
I love that.
I see more inclusive, inclusivity in the community.
I do too.
And for people who are new, it's very welcoming. Like you said, people genuinely care about where they live here and they want to be a part of that. They want to be a part of what's actually happening. They show up to city council meetings when they don't agree with something. Like, people have a voice here, and I think that's really cool, because in the bigger cities, it's hard to have a voice. You can, but it's different. So it's really, really special here for that reason.
You nailed it. That's awesome. I want to say thank you to you, for spending your time, taking your time out of your day to sit down and chat with me about business in Reading, about the chamber, about the roles that the chamber plays that I didn't even know the chamber was playing.
I'm glad I could share more about it.
I think that that's super cool. I think that there's a lot of opportunity for continued positive growth within the chamber if more of our great, enthusiastic, younger business owners and startups utilize that tool. I'm talking to myself.
It is what you make it.
It is what you make it.
Yeah, but we want to make it very obvious, like what are the benefits, like, and really show that.
So I love it. I want to, again, I thank you again. Your voice is refreshing. You're very much, you resemble, I think, the best parts of our community.
Thank you.
And I love the work that you're doing to get out there and spread the positive voice.
Thanks.
So
I love what you're doing.
Annalisa Young, for joining me. And then please stay tuned. I can't wait to see you join me on the next Why Reading podcast.